A pleasant good evening. My name is Christopher Jones, welcoming you to the APNU Local Government Elections Update. And of course, throughout tonight and into tomorrow during the day and into the evening, the APNU will be bringing you all updates as it relates to local government elections across the length and breadth of the country. My two co-hosts will be Annette Ferguson, Member of Parliament, and Regional Councillor of Region Number 4, Mr. Randolph Critchlow, and we will continue to bring you information and updates as they unfold. Of course, tomorrow evening there will be election results projections as it relates to those who have won the various constituencies. We will be sharing with you as well information from the three main municipalities, Linden and New Amsterdam and Georgetown. And of course, we will take the opportunity to share with you the APNU candidates for those respective constituencies that they are contested. Of course, just last evening, many of the municipalities and NDCs wrapped up their final election push with their rallies across the country. Of course, notably Linden, Georgetown, New Amsterdam, Rose Hall Town, and of course in the East Coast or on the East Coast of Demerara. Highlights for those as well we will be bringing to you. And of course, former President David Granger issued an election message just earlier today. We will bring you the excerpts of that. And of course, the excerpt local government elections message from Ganesh Mahipal, who is the Shadow Minister of Local Government. We will be inviting in studio several guests who will be sharing with us what is happening right now in the respective constituencies as they make their last minute preparation for local government elections, which are going to be had tomorrow, Monday, the 12th of June, commencing. The polls will open at 6 a.m. and polls will close at 6 p.m., all providing that it's a smooth transition during that time. Quickly, first, let's bring to you the message from the Shadow Minister of Local Government, and that is Ganesh Mahipal. He prepared this a few days ago, and of course, this is his message based on what is happening throughout all of the constituencies, the local authority areas, and the municipalities. Ganesh Mahipal, as you know, in the National Assembly has been constantly challenging the subject minister, Nigel Darmalal, as it relates to the management of the local authorities across the country. Several local authorities have been complaining about the high-handed manner in which Nigel Darmalal has been executing his duties as minister with that responsibility. Ganesh Mahipal on several occasions brought this information to the National Assembly of Guyana through several motions and questions to the subject minister, many of which have not been answered, but Ganesh Mahipal continues to make that push. So we will bring you Ganesh Mahipal's local government elections message to all of you who will be voting or all of you who are eligible to cast a vote in the local government elections tomorrow, Monday, the 12th of June. The APNU continue to stress to all and sundry that they must ensure that all eligible voters within their household, within their street, within their community, go out to the polls and cast a vote very early in the morning. So if the operators are ready, we'll go straight now to the local government elections message from the Shadow Minister of Local Government, Mr. Ganesh Mahipal.
My fellow Guyanese, with the local government elections approaching on June 12th, 2023, I urge you to consider the true essence of this electoral process. Local government elections provide you with an opportunity to vote for individuals who live in your constituency and have the capacity to represent your local issues effectively. It has come to my attention that the People's Progressive Party civic regime is attempting to divert your attention and make these elections about personalities such as Irfan Ali, Bharat Jagdeo, Priya Manikchan, and others. Let me remind you that these elections are not about them. They should not be the sole focus of your decision-making process. Fellow Guyanese, The purpose of these elections is to elect individuals who can challenge the ruling government and ensure that they are held accountable. The central government has a mandate to make our lives and livelihoods better. However, simply voting for candidates aligned with them will not guarantee improvements in your lives. Representatives aligned with the central government are less likely to challenge them in any way, shape, or form on your behalf. To truly make a difference, it is important to vote for individuals who are not aligned with the central government. These representatives will have the ability to hold the central government accountable for their responsibilities and ensure that they are fulfilling their obligations to you. By electing representatives who are not aligned with the central government, you can have someone who will truly represent your interests and advocate for more to be done for your benefit. In order to make informed choices, I implore you to vote wisely. Consider candidates who are independent of the central government and have a track record of challenging on your behalf, advocating for their constituents, and pushing for positive change. It is through this collective effort that we can work towards a government that is truly responsive to the needs of the people. Finally, my fellow Guyanese, exercise your democratic right and participate in the local government elections with a clear understanding of the issues at hand. Together, we can shape the future of our local communities, hold the central government accountable, and work towards a better, more prosperous Guyana. I thank you.
Thank you very much. That was, of course, the Shadow Minister of Local Government, Mr. Ganesh Mahipal, with his local government message to all eligible voters who have the opportunity tomorrow to cast a vote in the local government election. We did mention to you that among some of our guests that will be joining us today via phone will include the Deputy Mayor of the municipality of New Amsterdam, Mr. Wayne Wright McIntosh. And then, of course, we will be hearing from the General Secretary of the People's National Congress Reform, who is the campaign manager there in Bartica. And of course, throughout the night, we will be having other guests who will be making appearances via phone, as well as those in person. Earlier this week, the Deputy Mayor of the municipality of Georgetown made his plea to all and sundry as it relates to voting on local government elections day. This recording is obviously being circulated via the social media platform. And as I mentioned before, for those of you just joining us on the program, this is the commencement of the APNU local government elections update. These updates will continue throughout the night, throughout tomorrow during elections day, and of course, after the polls are closed. After the polls are closed throughout the country, we will be getting the projection and the election results from the various constituencies and municipality. And of course, you will be able to get those information right here on the APNU local government elections update throughout the evening. We will continue to bring you coverage throughout tomorrow evening, right up to the last result for any of the municipality or the NDC until those information are made available. Of course, we will bring you those projections as well, and several other talking points to permit you that opportunity so that you will be able to be guided in terms of what is happening in these elections. Let's go now to the Deputy Mayor of Georgetown and his message that he would have sent to the eligible voters who will be casting their votes tomorrow in the local government elections.
action and participate in local government elections scheduled for June 12, 2023. By voting for Apnu, you will play a vital role in building a better future for your community. Apnu dedicated candidates are prepared to address the various concerns and work towards meaningful change in the various communities. Together, we will build a prosperous and inclusive Guyana.
All right, welcome back. We have on phone with us the General Secretary of the People's National Congress Reform, who is also the part of the campaign team in the Cayuni-Mazaruni region. And of course, there in Bartica, Ms. Dawn Hastings Williams, who is joining us tonight. Good evening, Dawn.
Good evening, Christopher, and good evening to your listeners and viewers.
Excellent. All right, so we try to get from you what is happening right now in Bartica. We know last evening Bartica had its final rally. We saw lots of persons attended that rally, and of course the rally was addressed by, amongst other people, the leader of the opposition, leader of the PNC, Mr. Aubrey Norton. We saw Member of Parliament, Miss Amanza Walton Desir as well there. How is preparations now as it relates to going into elections tomorrow?
Well, thanks again, Chris. Yes, well, in Bartica, as you just mentioned, we had a very good rally last night, our final rally, and a lot of people turned out, and we had a lot of vibes, and the vibe continued today, starting at 1 o'clock this afternoon. We had the whistle stop where we were joined by a lot of vehicles. A lot of people came and encouraging their neighbors and people around the community, the municipality of Bartica, to come out very early in the morning to cast their vote, because we implored on them and they were reminded that their vote is very important in order for them to elect and to select their constituency reps, their local representatives. And, you know, as Chris, you see, we have very good candidates who are committed, who are dedicated, who are intelligent, who are competent enough, and who are vying for the representatives of the 9 constituents in the municipality of Bartica. So they're all set. This evening, they were there at the office collecting their materials, and, you know, it's better to prepare than to fail to prepare. When you prepare, we have confidence and we are confident with the help of God, we know that we shall have victory in the tongue of Bartica. So I encourage them, and as I encourage my candidates and the people of Bartica and all over Guyana, we're asking that you go with confidence into that polling booth after whispering your prayer and asking God for guidance, because that vote is secret. It's between you and your God. And so you go there with confidence. Put your X next to the APNU for the proportional representative and for the candidate representative. And you can walk out. You will walk out like a champion after placing your X next to APNU.
Excellent, excellent. Tell us this, Don, because I know you mentioned the fact that voting is secret. And of course, there was the whole debate as it relates to persons having their cell phone being allowed in the polling booth. The word on the ground is that the People's Progressive Party Civic will be engaged or had plans to engage in vote buying, of which they were paying up to, I think it's $40,000 per vote. And any person who takes a photograph of their ballot and then show that to them, they are entitled to a $40,000 vote. We saw yesterday the Ghana Elections Commission did publish, first a retraction to an initial statement by them and a new one, which indicates that those persons will not be allowed to take their cell phone or those devices into the actual polling booth. On the ground there in Bartica, is there or was there any impression that the People's Progressive Party Civic as well were engaged in vote buying in the municipality of Bartica?
Well, you will agree with me, Chris, Mr. Jones, that the PPP will do its width and it will go all of its way to find persons, to engage persons in all sorts of not regular, irregular activity, even if it is that they have to bribe. It is something that they have been doing over and over and over. But you know what, Chris? The people, we're not stupid. Guyanese are no longer little children. We are not stupid. Guyanese can reason. Guyanese can see. They're hearing. They're seeing what is happening around them. And so I think, and I believe, not I think, I believe that the Guyanese are sensible enough not to take bribes, not to be bought, because their souls cannot be bought. They shouldn't allow themselves to be bought, especially when it comes to elections for voting. It's your democratic right. Every one of us have a right to choose whomever we want to vote for to represent us, especially at the local level. And so I asked, and I implore again, do not be fooled by any monetary handouts, cash, any other thing that they may try to use, anyone may try to use to buy your vote. It is not valid. In the eyes of God, we can fool man, but we cannot fool God.
I agree with you. I agree with you fully. I agree with you fully on that, Don. All right. So, Don, we're going to leave you for a bit. Please keep close to your phone because we will be checking in with you. We want to go right now to the municipality of Mabaruma. Thank you very much, Don Hastings.
Thank you, Chris. Thank you.
All right. So, very good evening. We have Mr. Ronald Cox, Member of Parliament, on the line. Ronald Cox is the APNU Member of Parliament with responsibility for the Barima-Waini region. And Ronald Cox is joining us from the municipality of Mabaruma. A pleasant good evening to you, Ronald. Yeah, sorry, Ronald, could you hear us?
How are you, sir? Hi, Chris. Good evening. Yes, I can hear you very clearly.
Excellent, excellent. Sorry. So we are providing the viewers, the listeners, the constituencies in all of the municipalities across the country an update as it relates to preparation for the local government elections. And we want to hear from you what is happening. We know last night you had your final rally, your APNU final rally in Mabaruma. And of course, the night before, we saw you there in Port Kaituma. Tell us what is happening. What is the feel on the ground as it relates to moving into these local government elections tomorrow? What sense of excitement do you have in terms of persons turning out to vote in their numbers come tomorrow? Ronald?
So you rightly said last night was our final public meeting here in Mabruma. We had a very good turnout as the preparation nears for E-Day. We just concluded our final meeting by the campaign committee at the party office there in Mabruma. And so we have already finalized all arrangements for tomorrow with regards to E-Day and all our field officers, our agents and so on. All those systems are in place. We're very optimistic that we'll have a very good turnout tomorrow in Mabruma, obviously, for the election. We are confident of retaining our constituencies, our stronghold constituencies, and we are also hopeful that we will win an additional constituency, one or two. Once that happens, it means that we will gain control of the township. That is our optimism as we speak right now. With regards to Port Kaituma, I know I spoke with a few of them shortly. Well, not so long ago, and they are also in preparation mode for tomorrow. There as well, Port Kaituma is very strong with us, and we know that Central Port Kaituma and Matakai, by extension, they are strong Apnu supporters. I know they will turn out in their numbers as well. We have on our candidates for the Matakai area two persons who actually came over from the PVP because they are fed up with, they said, according to them, the corruption and mismanagement by the PUP councillors. So we have those on our side, and we're very optimistic as well that Port Kaituma will vote in their numbers, and we will also maintain our stronghold, that's our constituencies within that NDC, and be hopeful as well that we can capitalize on one or two that are very close. Once that is done, we will be happy to report that we were victorious. But the time, let's wait until when that official report is handed in, and we trust that we will be on the winning side. What I just want to say, congratulations to all of us who work so hard within Region 1. And once you stay put, stay focused, then we are likely to see good news shortly.
Excellent. Okay, so I want to turn your attention to the Matakai sub-region, which by itself is an NDC. And the Matakai sub-region is comprised of Port Kaituma, Machus Ridge, Big Creek, and so forth. I know during the last local government elections, in about two of the constituencies, the APNU lost it by figures of 6 single votes, and I think in another constituency lost by 14 votes. And why I want to underscore this point, because there are many people who say that, look, this is a particular stronghold of the APNU, and as such, my one single vote will not make a difference. But I want to use Matakai sub-region and the last local government elections, 2018, of which one of the constituency was lost by about 3 votes, and then another constituency by about 14 votes. What works have been done in the Matakai sub-region different from what was done in 2018, that you feel that this time around, those eligible voters will go out and vote for the APNU? I know for certain that there was a lot of infrastructural work that was done in Region 1 as a whole, but particularly in the Matakai sub-region from the Airstrip Road and so forth. Just give us some insight in terms of that.
Yes, Chris. Well, you rightly said in the Matakai area, those works that were done, those were done under the coalition while we were in government. The NDC, though, the NDC is controlled by the PUP, and that NDC was under the PUP control for a number of years. And so what we have seen is the deterioration of the physical infrastructure, of the social services management of the present PUP control NDC. And the residents are all disappointed. They are fed up. They're concerned about the actual true representation and work done by this present council. So that being said, I'm convinced that the residents will turn out in their numbers to ensure that they remove such leaders from office. Even as we speak, many of them are disappointed and they have expressed their concerns. And we did highlight it. What we did is to highlight all of the weaknesses, all of the shortcomings, all of the mismanagement, all of the unaccountability of this present PUP-controlled NDC councillors. And so we send that message strongly to all the residents. We are convinced that they will turn out in their numbers to ensure that they elect the APNU team, who will obviously represent them with proper or a better level of integrity, professionalism, decency, and good governance at the NDC level in Matakai.
Excellent. All right. So now I want to turn your attention to Mabaruma. It was under the APNU government that Mabaruma became a tongue, or was given tongueship or municipalityship. Do you get the impression that the voters there, as a result of what the APNU did in terms of giving them that opportunity to directly elect their local representative, to elect a mayor, to elect a deputy, well, not the deputy mayor and so forth, but the councillors who would comprise the council and then identify the mayors in between. But it was under your APNU government that the Mabaruma Township or was made into a municipality. Do you think that is sufficient for those on the fence, so to speak, voters, that will give them the nod to go out there and vote for the APNU, because the APNU has demonstrated that it believes in local democracy?
Well, obviously, the residents of Mabruma, they are all aware. They themselves know of the works done under the coalition while in government. But to directly answer your question, if that was enough, speaking on the ground with all of them and getting a view from them, now I can safely say that they are excited that those works were done under the coalition. It may not be enough, but it is enough when it's compared to the present municipality or the present councillors within the municipality. Because what we also did here is to compare what was done when it was our time. We controlled the municipality for the first time when it was given township. Since the first period, it was under the PP control. So what we did is compare our council then and this present council, and it is more than enough. The reasons are more than enough, but one additional thing that would have really propelled let's say more people to be convinced to come out, or at least in their numbers, and obviously vote APNU, would have been let's say a more engaged approach from all of us. But we know what our shortcomings are. We know that the government is using all of our taxpayers' resources to their own benefit, and so that area is being exploited by them. What we try to do is to educate the people, to tell them that they are using taxpayers' dollars, and they are actually buying people votes by using the grants, by using the student grants, by using the SLED program grants, and actually now in the community trying to give out these grants. We are educating people that those will not change, because local government election is not about central policies. Those projects will remain, but what you want to do is to change the incompetence of the local elected leaders, and that's the municipality, the council within the municipality of Mabruma. And so I am convinced that yes, those are more than enough reasons that why persons will come out and want to remove such incompetent councillors from the municipality.
Excellent. All right, so I will let you go right now, Mr. Ronald Cox, because I know you have the preparation with your scrutineers, all that and persons who will be working tomorrow on E-Day. But for those outside of the municipality of Mabaruma and outside of Region 1, the Birima-Waini region, those people who are out there who can hear your voice and they're still contemplating whether to go at all and vote, your final push or your final message to them why they should go out and vote for the APNU tomorrow in whichever constituency they are located.
My final advice to those who are still contemplating whether they should go out and vote or not is simple, Chris, is to tell them that your vote can make the difference. And secondly, elections will come again and elections will go. If you voted and you elect a council and you are satisfied with the work they have done, then it's simple. You vote them in again or you re-elect them. If you're not satisfied, well then you tell them what you're not satisfied with and have them correct it. If they don't correct it, then you have a right to vote for a new council, one that you believe will work with you. But I am saying here now though, that we have witnessed, and you, the people, the residents of Matica and Mabruma, you have witnessed that the present PP control councillors within the NDC and the municipality are grossly incompetent. And so your decision is very simple, and that is to change them. Change them by simply going out there tomorrow and voting for the APNU team. Once you do that, you will have a new team to work with. And I'm saying to you, you cannot judge the new team because they were never there, and you could only judge them by giving them an opportunity to work with you. And so I'm encouraging all of you, to make that decision, go there early and vote strongly for the APNU.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Ronald Cox, and best wishes to you and your team.
Thank you, Chris, and all the best as well.
Thank you. All right, so we continue our discourse and we go now to the municipality of New Amsterdam. And of course, we will be speaking with the deputy mayor of New Amsterdam, McIntosh, who has been in the field throughout the various constituencies in New Amsterdam. And just last evening on Main Street, New Amsterdam, we saw thousands of New Amsterdamians came out in their numbers to lend support to the New Amsterdam team that will be contesting at those local government elections. Mr. Wayne Wright McIntosh, Deputy Mayor of the municipality of New Amsterdam. A pleasant good evening to you, sir.
Good evening to you, Honorable Christopher Jones, Chief Whip. Greetings from New Amsterdam, of course, and thank you for having me this evening.
Most welcome, sir. Well, of course, we are sharing with our viewers the elections update from the APNU perspective, and of course, challenges that they might be encountering, and of course, those challenges that they have overcome. I have been speaking with Ms. Dawn Hastings Williams, who is also the General Secretary of the People's National Congress Reform, and she happens to be part of the election team there in the Cayuni-Mazaruni region, Bartica particularly. We just got off the phone with Member of Parliament, Mr. Ronald Cox, who is the MP and part of the campaign team there in the Barima-Waini region. And he was speaking to us from the township of Mabaruma. And of course, just yesterday or day before yesterday, he was in the Matakai sub-region of Region 1. What is happening on the ground in New Amsterdam? What are the attempts by the People's Progressive Party Civic to buy votes in New Amsterdam? And how effective have that strategy by the PPP to buy votes in New Amsterdam been? Have they been rejected by the people? What is happening there?
Yes, thank you very much for that question. Now, what's happening as recent as today? Persons were distributing red T-shirts with $10,000 inside. That was the feedback I got from Constituency 3. And once it would have happened in Constituency 3, it tells us that that's a trend across the region, across the country. We would have advised persons, it's our money, it's your money as citizens of Guyana. And so if by chance you happen to collect your red jerseys with this $10,000, accept it. But the reality is, Chris, our people are very much enlightened, moving around in the various constituencies. Persons would have been reluctant to communicate with members of the PPP and their gimmicks. Persons in constituencies would have chased out the PPP in most of our areas, right? Why? In 2023, our people are not foolish. Our people will not fall prey to handouts, all right? And so while all these rush work that has happened throughout the township of New Amsterdam, persons are aware. One of the questions residents would have been asking, where were you 23 years ago? Why this sudden development? All right? And these are feedback coming from individuals. The work, when residents inspect the work, peruse the quality of work being done, because it is being done in a rush in the name of local government elections and try to paint a picture. The work that is being done is of substandard quality. And so residents are concerned about the value for taxpayers' money, the value for the resources of this great country of ours. And so the general climate across Region 6. Persons are refuting. They are not in they are not in sync with the PPP gimmicks and ideology.
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. We are also this morning when I exit your municipality, sir. There were reports from the PPP camp that they had what they call a campfire or a youth rally and campfire in an area called Angais Avenue. And some of the images that I've seen, and I've asked the operator if he can pull up those images. But essentially, at that event, there were young people under the age of 18, and all of which were consuming alcoholic beverages. And of course, some of them were seen well, burning weed and so forth at that event there in Angais Avenue. What has been your report? And has there been any move by the Guyana Police Force, for example, to stop that event, which was being hosted by the PPP, in which underage persons in Angais Avenue were seen drinking alcoholic beverages?
First of all, I'm very much saddened at that particular development. As an educator, looking at our school-age children participating in the use of illicit drugs and alcohol, marijuana, etc., it saddens my heart. And it tells a story about the love and care coming from the PPP. Now, any adult would know this. Persons in the diaspora would know this. The use of illicit drugs, marijuana, alcohol, etc., right? It has a direct negative impact on the lives of those children. And so, as far as possible, we need to protect our next generation, our future leaders. So, those reports had caused me to went into Angais Avenue. And I would have observed for myself the excessive use of marijuana throughout that activity. It was very blatant and sad, a sad affair. So this is where we're calling on the welfare services and the Guyana Police Force to be very much vigilant when it comes to this. We understand that our officers, their hands are tied at this moment because they're serving the government of Guyana. But these essential values are not in keeping with the protection of our children. And when we tap into the rights of the child, exposing our children to danger, it doesn't argue well with members of our society.
I agree with you fully.
So no attempt was made to stop that activity, and I must reiterate the fact that we know the PPP administration. It's all about self.
Yeah.
Right. It's all about self. Mm-hmm. They don't matter. They have no care and concern who gets born in the process once they achieve the ultimate goal. And this is one of the things citizens need to be watchful, be cautious about. Let us protect our children. Yeah. As an educator, I've always purpose in my heart to build strong children than to repair broken men. And so my heart goes out to those children in the Angais area, and that's his constituency too. And I'm very sad.
Excellent. Thank you very much for that. Mr. Mayor, now I want to turn your attention to it perhaps was in the 3 weeks leading into these local government elections, which are going to be had tomorrow. But the revelations about the main reason why the PPP is trying to get their hands on particularly the three main municipalities, Georgetown, New Amsterdam, and Linden. And of course, the conversation there about rates and taxes, and many of those households within those municipalities that have outstanding rates and taxes. You are the deputy mayor of New Amsterdam, and as the saying goes, who best to tell us about that situation in your municipality and share with us what the municipality of New Amsterdam and the APNU council there, or the councillors there, did similar to those in Georgetown, which had the period of amnesty, which was afforded to the residents of Georgetown with a view of them being able to pay their rates and taxes. What is the situation in your municipality? And of course, speak to us about the fact that now that Shorebase has already started some amount of operation, that is the oil company in Region 6, how has your property value has gone up and those prime real estate in your municipality?
Chris, you caused me to smile. With that development, I'm going to come to that just now.
Sure.
In the New Amsterdam municipality, if we to look at the Treasurer's Department annually, what persons don't know is this: the municipalities, they're semi-autonomous, and so how government will fund the Ministry of Education, the Ministry of Health, government provide 100% of the projected budget for the ensuing year or the year to come. On the other hand, the New Amsterdam municipality, we prepare our budget based on the anticipated income in the new year. All right? So if we to look at rates and taxes, right? Government, while looking at the budget, government does not subsidize our budget 100%. What we receive is a meager sum of, back then was $16 million annually. When the APNU government came into power, we would have enjoyed a plausible increase in subvention. So all we have from government is $18 million annually. And I tell you what, 18 million, if we to look at 4 streets within New Amsterdam, 18 million might perhaps be too much of a small sum to complete 5 streets within the township. However, we try our best to stretch this money and to make it work for the development of New Amsterdam so citizens can benefit. When we look at government carrying out work, capital work, so 1 street in excess of $30 million, the municipality, we would do our last street, like for example, 38 Sandton is being rehabilitated presently. It came at a cost of $3.5 million to rehabilitate that street, versus $30 million on a particular on any given street that the government tries to resource, right? So when it comes to prudent spending, the New Amsterdam municipality, the councillors, we make the best decision and to stretch that money so that citizens can benefit. Mm-hmm. Now, what am I getting at? On a yearly basis, our rate and tax collection falls at a near 60%. No year have we ever collected 100% rate and taxes, which means most of our business people in the community, they really do not honor their tax obligation. We have for the residential aspect, we do have lots of persons as well who do not honor their tax obligation, and that constitutes a mere 40% of the population within New Amsterdam. Now, the implication here, annually, we have an amnesty program where the Treasurer's Department, they will announce this amnesty, and so that residents can come into the municipality and sign up a payment plan to honor their rates and taxes obligations. So if by chance, let us say, residents are owing 10 years of rates and taxes, 5 years of rates and taxes, they're being signed on to a contract where they pay until they honor the final tax payment for that particular year. What I wish to state, however, councillors, no councillor, mayor, deputy mayor, councillors, we do not, and I wish to say this clear, we do not handle the finances of the New Amsterdam municipality. We have statutory workers there who are being paid on a monthly basis in the Treasurer's Department to look after the financial affairs of the municipality. So this new thing that is being peddled in around social media, in the printed media, the councillors, they teach out the municipality money, and it's all a fallacy, right? Town clerks also have the responsibility of ensuring that the staff who are being paid on a monthly basis take services to the communities.
That's right.
So that residents can benefit. What we see and what I would have experienced in this last council year, most times the town clerk never know. Most times the drainage foreman always with an excuse. And so it forces councillors now on the weekends to get in their language, go out there into the community and physically, practically clean drains.
So, I just want to interject right there for the benefit of the listeners. When you make the point in terms of the responsibility for the town clerks, these are town clerks that are in all of these municipalities, regardless of if they're controlled, if the council is controlled by the APNU or PPP, but the town clerks are appointed by the government.
Correct.
And these individuals, because I know, for example, situation in Georgetown, in which on several occasions with previous town clerks, I can't speak specifically about the current town clerk, but there always seem to have been issues as it relates to the council makes a decision and the town clerk should be executing those decisions of the council. But instead, the town clerks take instruction from the PPP minister of local government. So I assume that is the same situation you have in your municipality.
Yes, that is the same situation. So sometimes you wonder, and this here caused my councillors to wonder why they're even sitting around our shoes when the minister would unilaterally sit at the central level and to instruct staff to carry out whatever he wants them to carry out. And again, based on careful observation, especially coming down to the final days in this council, we saw the town clerk evidently sabotaging the council's decision.
Yeah.
Now, imagine we would have fought vociferously to improve the health department by furnishing the health department with compacted trucks and all that. Now, what should have been happening? A schedule should have been placed on the council page, apart from being placed conspicuously within the New Amsterdam municipality structure, to sensitize residents which day garbage will be picked up in their area. So for the first week, that was the trend. After that, there was a breakdown. And so there again, consciously, the town clerk allowed her staff to cause the people's garbage not to be picked up in a timely manner. As the deputy mayor of New Amsterdam, I realized what was happening. And so on the weekend, myself and councillors, we used to be going around in the constituency, I will be driving the garbage truck. The councillors will be there supporting to throw the residents' waste into the truck and just to alleviate residents' suffering.
Yeah.
Right? And this is what I'm talking about when it comes to putting on the persona of workers of the council. Now, that is not councilor's job,
That's correct.
We're paying staff to get these things done.
Yeah.
Right? And the town clerk, being the administrative head of the council, is responsible for the staff and ensuring that residents have the services they deserve. And what is sad in all this? Residents are not calling on the town clerk, but the mayor, the deputy mayor, and our councillors.
Yeah. So essentially, you're saying, which is no surprise. I mean, probably the listeners and the viewers out there are saying that they're not surprised. All of this was a carefully orchestrated plot by the People's Progressive Party Civic. Because, for example, we know in other municipalities that are not controlled by the PPP, the subventions have not been paid over to them. In other municipalities that are not controlled by the PPP, the rates and taxes, like for example, Georgetown, the largest municipality, the parliament would have approved hundreds of millions of dollars in rates and for payments of rates and taxes in the 2023 budget, because all of those police stations, ministry buildings, you name it, every government agency that has a building within any of those municipalities, the central government has to pay rates and taxes for them. And in the parliament, in the 2023 budget, as a parliamentarian, we approve hundreds of millions of dollars for rates and taxes to be paid over to the various municipalities and the NDCs. When we check with those municipalities and the NDCs, central government did not pay over those monies to them. So with the town, and then to couple with that, you have the town clerks that are appointed by central government. And as you mentioned, your particular town clerk in your municipality deliberately changed up the schedule in terms of garbage collections in the municipality. And of course, if garbage is not collected, the residents there would become uncomfortable and they will start to blame the council. We've even saw the People's Progressive Party Civic ministers, various ministers, including Vice President, they were on platforms and saying that the municipalities that don't pick up your garbage, that's why we said it was a careful, orchestrated plot leading into these elections by the People's Progressive Party Civic.
Yes, it was.
Yeah.
It was.
All right.
And the evidence is there.
Exactly. All right, Mr. Deputy Mayor, we will allow you to go, but last but not least, you were, subject to correction, you were elected as the Deputy Mayor, is it 2016 or 2018?
2018.
2018, great. And of course, this was as a result of the return of local democracy and local government elections by the APNU administration.
That's right.
So just for the benefit of the viewers, my final question to you, take us back. How did the municipality manage during the 23 years that the People's Progressive Party Civic was in office and hosted no local government elections for that period?
It was a tough period for the municipality, Honorable Chief Whip. Now, there was one time where I can vividly recall Amsterdam in its glorious days, right? The municipality back then had control of water, electricity, right? Providing these basic services to the community. Now, based on that, the municipality had a better, robust financial system because residents used to be paying for these services to the municipality. Now, these monies in turn went back into the community to benefit persons living throughout the 7 constituencies. Now, during those 23 years, all these services were taken away from the control span of the New Amsterdam municipality. As to say if that was enough, the municipality under the then former mayor, Claude Henry, vigorously fought to maintain New Amsterdam as a municipality as opposed to being run as IMCs.
Mm-hmm.
So from not only 2023, the PPP would have tried to gain control of the municipality. So this is no surprise to me. They wanted to, in order to gain maximum control of New Amsterdam, interim management committee was the plan back then. However, because of the resilient nature of the people of New Amsterdam, who embraced or who was there in support of the mayor, fought to remain a municipality. So fast tracking to 2023, here is another attempt. So it's no surprise to us here in New Amsterdam, and so residents are very well aware of what's happening.
Excellent. Excellent. Mr. Deputy Mayor, we will...
So you were saying, Chris, I wish to say, local democracy was restored by the APNU government. All right? Mm-hmm. Because we believe in local democracy. We believe residents must play a part in the development of their communities.
Mm-hmm.
Also, they have a fair share to play. They have a fair say in what happens, which road must be done for us, where the play park will be built, and all these different things.
Excellent.
So the power is in the hands of the people in the community throughout the 7 constituencies. And that is what the APNU government would have done for the people of this beautiful country.
Excellent. Excellent. Mr. Deputy Mayor, Mr. Wayne Wright McIntosh, we thank you very much, sir, for sharing with us. And of course, we will be checking in with you and your team there in the municipality of New Amsterdam throughout the entire day tomorrow into tomorrow evening. We would like to take the opportunity to extend best wishes to you and your team. And of course, in those elections that you yourself will be participating in. Thank you very much for joining us, sir.
Yes, thank you for having me.
Right, most welcome. All right, so that was, of course, the Deputy Mayor of the municipality of New Amsterdam, and he was sharing with us some of the challenges as a result of deliberate orchestrated plot by the People's Progressive Party Civic, as is the case in the municipality of Georgetown, Bartica, and Linden, which is not controlled by the PPP. Of course, we did share with you that last evening, several final rallies were hosted by the APNU, particularly in the mining town of Linden, Georgetown, and New Amsterdam and Bartica. This evening, and happening right now in the municipality of Madhya, they are currently having their live final rally that is happening there. And of course, the operator is going to signal me when that clip is ready. But I think he wants to take us to Linden, where the rally was hosted just last evening.
Well, let me tell you what more they did. They slashed over 100 nurses' salary to $300 because they're protesting Rudy Small. You remember Rudy? Where he gone now? But I want to now invite to the stage our Member of Parliament, the Honorable Drummond Figuera, and he is going to come and deliver his remarks. We go have a grand time all night tonight, all night tonight, all night tonight. We go have a grand time all night tonight, all night tomorrow night. We go have a fire time all night tonight, all night tonight, all night tonight. We go have a fire time all night tonight, all night tomorrow night. Pick up yourself, Lyndon. Show me your palm. On Monday, we gonna palm them out. What we gonna do on Monday? We gonna palm them out. The PPP believe they can buy out this community. But on Monday, what we gonna do? We gonna palm them out. I hear somebody saying they're looking for it. My question is, why do you have to look for it? It is the fastest growing economy in the world. Guyana is the richest country in the world. Why is it that less than 800,000 people have to be looking for it? That is the question you have to ask the PDP. Now, I want you to understand that local government elections are important. Local government elections are important. And it is the coalition government who recognize that local government elections are important. Because after 2 decades, we brought it back after 8 months being in government. Because we believe in local democracy. We believe that the communities should determine who their leaders are. We believe the leadership within the community can come and speak to the residents of each of the constituencies and articulate their vision and the plan the people of those constituencies. We believe and we have confidence in our candidates. That is why throughout this campaign, it is the candidates who you are hearing from. You are hearing from those at Freedom House, at central government. This is not a regional or national election. So you don't need people from central government come in and articulate positions for their candidates. It means that they have no confidence in their candidates. But the people of Linden have confidence in their candidates. That is why they were going out to you and say to you that these are the issues that affect the constituency, and this is how we are going to address it. I heard the bishop, and it would be remiss of me not to address the bishop. The bishop turned politician, the bishop who is a liar. The bishop said last night that I call a PAC meeting as the chairman. This is a man who sat on the PAC since 2015, when his president was the chairman. And he should know the chairman don't call no meeting of the PAC. PAC is statutorily every 1 day. So without saying, staff at the parliament to call all the members to remind them that there's a statutory meeting of the PAC. So I don't have to call any meeting. I don't set any meeting as the chairman of the PAC. It's the members who set the meeting. Only thing that proceeds Mr. Bishop's ignorance and arrogance. He said this council failed to spend some vision. That is a lie. He failed to realize that the elected councillors are the policy makers of the council. And it is the town clerk who has to execute the decisions of the elected councillors at the town council. So don't blame the councillors for the fault of the most ineffective council town clerk and the town council, who is a PPP. The PPP installed 36 IMCs throughout this country, taking away the elected responsibility of those councillors by installing IMCs. And in all of those IMCs, it was the PPP town clerk who manned the affairs of those NDCs and municipalities. So the failure is not the councillors, it's the town clerk who would have failed to execute the decisions of the council. This council that we have presently, who will be replaced by far more competent and confident councillors. When they made those decisions, the town clerk failed to execute those decisions. They wrote the Minister of Local Government and indicated to the Minister that the town clerk is failing to execute the decisions of the council. They wrote the Local Government Commission and complained about the consistent failure of the town clerk to execute the responsibility she was being told to do on behalf of the elected councillors. So I want you to understand, don't blame your councillors who work diligently with limited resources to solve this constituency. And they did the best they could with the little that they had. But I have heard from these new councillors some ideas, some revolutionary ideas that is going to generate revenues for this council that will ensure that irrespective if the government increase the subvention or not, they will be able to execute their programs. Equally, I want you to understand that the subvention that the bishop was talking about, it was warranted to the RDC and not to the town council. This government wants you to believe that they care about Linden. Listen to me. Just look at how the REO manage the affairs of the region.
All right.
The REO
highlights from the Minister of Linden. And of course, we were listening to a Member of Parliament, Mr. John Kira, speaking there at the final rally in the municipality of Linden. As mentioned before, as we speak in the municipality of Mahdia, they are currently hosting their final rally. And of course, at the other side of that, I will have in studio with me my colleague, Member of Parliament, Annette Ferguson, will be joining me for a live discussion. And then, of course, we will go back to the other municipality and get updates from them in terms of what is happening in their particular jurisdiction. This is the APNU Elections Watch. Here now is Mahdia with their live update that is currently happening there. And as you would know, Mahdia was one of those municipalities that was given township status by the APNU government. The APNU saw the return of local democracy and local government elections just 8 months after returning to office in the 2015 general and regional elections. It was then former President David Granger who gave those township to Mahdia, Mabaruma, Bartica, and of course the town there in Region 9, Lethem. All 4 towns were given township by the APNU after the return of local government elections by the APNU. The People's Progressive Party Civic, over the years that they have been in office, 23 years, have never shown any interest in local democracy. They have never shown any interest in local government elections. The PPP came to office in 1992. There was one local government election that was hosted in 1994. And right up until 2015, 20 plus years of the People's Progressive Party Civic in office, they haven't held any local government elections. The APNU AFC believed in true democracy and the right for people to identify and elect their own elected officials. And as such, 8 months after the APNU AFC successfully won the general and regional elections in 2015, hosted local government elections. And of course, 2 years after that, in 2018, the APNU AFC government held its second local government election. Through democracy, people's representation is given to the people and has been given to the people by the APNU AFC government. And of course, in these particular elections, as we have been sharing with you, the only reason for these elections is because the People's Progressive Party Civic has a plan, particularly in those municipalities of Georgetown, New Amsterdam, and Linden. And it is as it relates to prime real estate. That is the intention. And of course, as we mentioned, the plot by the People's Progressive Party Civic is to increase those rates and taxes in those various municipalities to dispossess people of their land. As well, in all three municipalities, there are hundreds, if not thousands of people who have outstanding rates and taxes owed to the various municipalities. It was the APNU councils that presented the amnesty period, in which persons who have huge outstanding rates and taxes were given an opportunity to be part of a payment system. The interest that had accrued during the period that they owed was removed, and they had only been required to pay the actual payment. That was an introduction by the APNU. And of course, those will continue after these elections. If the operator can signal me, we will go live to the township of Madia, because Madia is currently hosting their final rally for the local government elections there in region number 8.
You have a principle to decide on. You have a conscience to work with. So I'm asking you, on the 12th, you go for APNU. I will benefit and you will benefit because you reported for my leadership, and I'm going to deliver as you both. We have a history. We have a history in Madia. We have a history in Guyana. We know what the history are. We have a history of lawlessness in this country. You, the people, elected your leaders, and your leaders were stifled for basic things to provide a service for you effectively. But remember, the leaders were young. It was the first experience in the municipality. And a lot of things that they were pushing, we didn't rebel against it. We took it and we swallowed it. But this is not the time for the law. We taking the law because with this new leadership, with the strength that we have in, we're going to pursue different courts. Depending on assistance from the central government, of which we received, like I said, up to 2020. As you know, 2020 is when we had the no confidence, and then we had this whole change of government and all these things. From the time that began, the disaster began for the town council. Because the central government, the government that is in power actually right now, because they was not in favor of establishing Madia as a town, and I said they were not in favor. We went to court and all of that to deal with that. They decided to prosecute your leaders that you would have elected. Mind you, we were elected, not installed. And we were not selected. We were elected. We went to election and we won. Because we're not the majority, the PPP majority, we were prosecuted and we're still being prosecuted. We were financially starved. And when I say starved, we were cut off of all assistance financially from central and even in the regional bodies. As you know, the entities in the region, in the township, the regional office and all the other entities are controlled by the central government. All assistance were cut off, so we were just coping with our little garbage collection, our sand resources that we sell to get financial assistance. And besides that, I must say thank you to the private sector, the businesses that would have contributed also to us. Now I'm looking and I'm observing that we have members of our township that they have this group they call the PPP group. You and I know who born and goes mad. We have no knowledge much about PPP group. We know about PNC. Now we have the PPP group where we have the vulnerable ladies and gentlemen that usually walk behind our Minister of Indigenous Affairs. And one of the things they say to our people is that the township can do nothing for y'all. The township can do nothing for y'all. None of them can stand and say to that minister, why is it that the township was not able to facilitate their responsibility? Nadia, you are proud, I know that. I want to talk to you about money because that's my portfolio. I deal with the finance. You know, there's a good saying that says, if you want to know who somebody value, you know, where they put their value, actually check and see where they spend the money. And I want to talk to you about where the PDP government spend the money. And more importantly, where they don't spend the money. Ladies and gentlemen, it was in 2019 that the coalition presented the last budget in Parliament. And I'm going to stick to that year for that reason. In 2019, the coalition's budget was $300.7 billion. That's the entire budget. In 2019, the coalition budgeted in excess of $2 billion to Region 8. PPP now, let's get to them. And I want to particularly those persons that were falling astray and falling for their lives. Today, in 2023, with a budget of $781.9 billion, how much y'all think Nadia Region is getting? How much y'all think it's only in excess of $2 billion again? The coalition spent more money in Maggie than the PPP could ever dream to spend. That is a fact. Ladies and gentlemen. Ladies and gentlemen, I told you that when I'm speaking tonight, I'll be speaking pure facts. There is no government minister, no representative of the PDP that can come and refute anything that I'm saying. Let us follow the money. If you follow the money, you will realize the PDP don't care about Madia. The PDP don't care about Region 8. You know, we can talk a little bit, and I've heard a lot of persons talk about the cash grant. And it's important that we speak about it. First of all, the very first thing I want to say about the cash grant is that this is not the PPP money. The cash grant money is not the PPP money. Whose money is it? Whose money is it?
Ladies and gentlemen, the money that the government spends is the people's money. The government only sits in a seat to determine where money is spent on behalf of the people of this country. All right. Let me go. Good. We're back again, ladies and gentlemen. We're back again. I want to remind you of something. Actually, it's going to be a news for some of you. But last year, when the PDP was sharing the cash grant last year, I made several attempts to plead with the Minister of Education not to be sharing the cash grant and putting policies associated. Oh, if you don't bring back a textbook, you can't get the money. Oh, if the child don't go to school all the time, they can't get the money. I made the case. I said a lot of times children that don't have the textbook are very poor, coming from poor families. The children that don't go to school, they're coming from poor families. We should not be holding back the money from them. The Minister of Education took to her face to come to use me out. How dare I try to represent poor people? Fast forward to today. Fast forward to now. When they want to use the cash grant as a political gimmick, not a single requirement you have to fulfill to get the money this year. None. This is the PPP that we're talking about. These are the people we must not be deceived. Let us remember this. You are proud persons living in Madiu. I want to tell you that by no means, in no way, shape, or form, can $40,000 sustain you for any period of time. Cost of living in this country is on the increase. Every single day, every time you go to the market, things increasing, prices going up. The PPP administration has done absolutely nothing to lower prices. They have done the absolute opposite. They have made choices that is going to make sure that the prices keep going up. And again, I am telling you, these are the facts. Ladies and gentlemen, they promised, and the PPP are speaking about again, they promised when they were in their 2020 campaign mode, they said, oh, we're going to increase wages and salaries for public servants by how much? 50%. Guys, do you remember that? They said 50%. Then when they got into office, what did they do? You know what they said? What did Minister Pratt said? So shop, they never said that. Why would they not want to increase wages and salaries when the budget moved from $300 billion in 2019 to $781.9 billion in 2023? They have the money, they have no excuse. They don't want to increase the wages and salaries because they want that you must beg them for something. They want that they must be able to come and tell you, oh, if you don't come and do this, we're going to take away this from you. We must be slaves to them. It is a mentality that we must break, and we must not allow them to cripple all the hard work that our foreparents did to get us to the proud people that we are today in this country. Maria, I want to say that you're all better than that. You all deserve a whole lot more. And I want to tell you that on Monday, you must not reward the wickedness of the PPP.
That's right.
You must not reward the wickedness of the PPP. They must not win. And I can use the analogy of when you as mothers or fathers, when you have your little children and they're throwing a tantrum, what do? Do you give them their own way? Do you give your children the own way when they're throwing a tantrum? You don't do that. You give discipline. And you know why I'm using that analogy? Because I want you to realize that you, the people, have the power. You are the parents of this system. It is your resources. So when the PPP throw the tantrum, you must not break and give way to that nonsense. You must show resilience. You must show discipline. And you must stand strong because, man, you are a proud people and you will not reward the wickedness of the PPP administration. I have given you facts, Mario, and I can tell you further that I know your candidates are contesting for this local government election, and they are strong people, they are resilient people, they are honest people, they are factors, and they are proud to stand firm and represent their interests, and you stand behind 100%. And I invite all to stand up and stand behind the folks that are contesting the local government election for Mario for the APNU. You will get your support.
Constituency 1, Bami Amelia's ward. I, Sharma Solomon, your constituency candidate representing the APNU, is asking for your support June 12th, a few hours from now, local government elections. We're asking you to ensure that you have in your municipal council strong, right, and proper representation so that we can ensure we address matters such as the Bamia Amelia's Ward Primary School and so many issues plaguing our community. So come out and vote in a few hours, 12th of June, local government elections.
For positive change in your community by voting for Apnu on June 12th. Apnu's track record for tangible results speaks for itself. By electing Apnu's representatives, you are choosing competent leaders who are committed to development in your community. Let's build a prosperous and inclusive Guyana. Together, vote Apnu.
Welcome back. That was, of course, the highlight from the Madia rally, which concluded just about 2 hours ago that we are told. And of course, you saw there on the platform the local candidates who will be contesting the Madia municipality. And of course, the platform was graced by Member of Parliament, Ms. Jurita Fernandez of the Alliance for Change, who did significant work in in that particular region. And of course, coverage was provided by our brother and comrade, Member of Parliament, Mr. Sherrod Duncan, who was also there in the municipality of Madia. As promised, I am joined in studio by colleague and friend, Annette Ferguson, who just this minute came out of her constituency, and of course she's going to be sharing with us what is happening in that particular constituency and the elections in general. Annette, no stranger to this. We've been doing this for a number of years. We've been out and about, and you name it, you've been there.
Yes, it's a pleasant evening. And thank you to your viewers, and thank you for having me on this program. I think it's quite important as we prepare to head into local government elections in a few hours, right? Well, Christopher, as you rightfully put, I worked in constituency 13. I have parliamentary responsibility for that constituency. Constituency 13 is bordered east of Mandela Avenue, south of Mandela, north of the Lane Avenue Canal there and Towler Dam. That will take in Lane Avenue, Towler Dam there in East Bromfield, and west of Hunter Street. So basically, the constituency is like in a square, sort of. Chris, that constituency has come under attack leading up to these elections, and I guess your viewers and listeners will also know that based on what is being played out on social media and in certain or in other quarters. Constituency 13, the current candidate, or the current council rather, is a colleague of ours, former colleague of ours, who has now crossed the floor, and that's Miss Tricia Richards. So she's now with the People's Progressive Party Civic. And our candidate there is Mr. Winston Harding. That being said, there's another candidate who is also contesting independently in that constituency. So I have been doing extensive work in that constituency because it is of the belief, or the People's Progressive Party Civic wants the Guyanese populace, more so the people who live in that particular constituency, to get the belief or the feelings that, well, look, they got it locked. Well, Christopher, truth be told, the People's Progressive Party Civic in that constituency 13 lap, more so Lane Avenue. I have been working Lane Avenue practically every single day. And from day one, when I entered that particular section of constituency 13, I have been welcomed with open arms. No animosity, no kind of, negative reactions from the residents there. Just this afternoon, I worked the constituency, and I can tell you, Chris, people are eagerly awaiting for tomorrow to go cast the ballot. There was a Rastaman, Rastaman had an APN, New Jersey, but vote APN. The Jersey they're wrong since 2011. But he has been parading Lane Avenue this afternoon, saying that, well, look, Lane Avenue is full out Apnu. We can't wait to go to the polls. And every young person that we came into contact with, right, even young females, they were saying this afternoon, Lane Avenue is not for sale. They can't buy we, Miss Ferguson. They can't buy we, Miss Nestor. We know exactly where our votes will go come tomorrow, because the people for the stated the field by giving us a road, they got us.
Yeah.
Look at this road here, Miss Ferguson. By 3 months, yes, 3 months, this road will start cracking up. Even the young men in the community, the young men who gathered, they too are saying that, well, look, they're prepared to head to the polls tomorrow because they have their constituency to secure from the hands of the People's Progressive Party Civic. The other areas, I would say, West proper, you ain't got the kind of
those
issues like in Lane Avenue. And let me tell you something, in Lane Avenue, it's not the entire avenue from Cemetery Road to Hunter Street, It is just probably like the third block, sort of. It's just a handful. And the people said that today on the ground. Yeah. It's just a handful of them running around the place thinking that they could bring this body in and that body in, Edgel in, Ramson in. Yeah. But we know exactly where
but that is the point. You see, that is the point that has to be made, and it's evident across the country in various constituencies. For the first time, people are seeing PPP officials, whether ministers and so forth, in their area. Never seen before.
Exactly.
So all of a sudden there is a found love for Sophia. And as we spoke with the people in Sophia, for example, Sophia has been there under the People's Progressive Party Civic. I recall the days going into Sophia when at 5:30 in the morning you had children who used to got to walk a ye distance with a bucket had to go
Yes.
down in a ditch to full water. They fetch this throughout the morning, then go to school. And by the time they reach the school, they're so tired. The PPP have never found any interest in Sapphire. Similar like that in New Amsterdam, in Angui's Avenue. And all of a sudden, they found love. You know, I said to people that in my estimation, these are these are some of the most disrespectful elections that I've seen in recent time.
Yeah.
And why I say that is that essentially the People's Progressive Party Civic are firmly of the opinion that the Guyanese people are idiots, that the Guyanese people, it is smart disrespect of the intelligence of the Guyanese people. And case in point is this cash grant that the PPP have all of a sudden given to people 6 days before an election, and have the gall and gumption to say to people that, listen, this has nothing to do with election. You know, almost like if the PPP has always treated Guyanese people as if they're ignorant.
Exactly.
They've always done so. But this particular election, this particular move by the PPP is the worst that I've ever seen of the People's Progressive Party Civic.
You know, Christopher, let me just supplement on the point you made concerning the cash grants. And on the ground, Chris, the people are saying these people take us for fools.
That's right.
You paying cash grant 1 week before an elections. You understand me? Then we know that this cash grant is coming in the last week, just before school closes in the month of July. Miss Ferguson, what these people think? We still want the money, that they feel that by paying us this money, we can go vote PPP.
Yeah.
We forget what happened to our young Afro Guyanese who suffered at the hands of the police. We forget what they did to the people at Mocha, bulldoze those people's hopes. We don't forget what they do to the people in Hillfoot. You know, Rastaman on the bicycle today said to me, imagine, come Miss Ferguson, I'm gonna whisper this thing in your ears. Imagine, look what they did to those people who actually are applying a trade, an honest living at Providence there, the Red Road. How can we go and vote for these people? They think we forget what they have done to our Guyanese brothers and sisters. And you know, also, Chris, is that the people ain't forgetting Sugate.
Of course.
They're forgetting the Sugate scandal. So all of the, is it a case whereby they want us to forget all of these egregious acts, Miss Ferguson? And, you know, we will now see the PPP as good boys or good girls. No, we got better sense and we know exactly what has been happening. The people for it said, look, 23 years we had the PPP. And out of the 23 years, they denied us local government elections for 20 years, Chris. It took the coalition government on March 18, 2016 and November 14, 2018 to bring back local government elections where we, the people, are given the right, that opportunity to elect persons of our choice to man the affairs and to represent our communities. Now, what are they saying? We see exactly what happened. Miss Ferguson, my house used to flood up before the coalition came in. We don't get nothing from the PPP. This garbage and emptying, as we walked Lane Avenue, oh my God, the stench was so high. My colleague turned to me and said, how can people be living in a community like this under such condition? Not only Lane Avenue, because to get from Lane Avenue, we had to walk from East Rockville. Even, you know, walking alongside there on Front Road, people got their garbage lined, the garbage bins lined off. You could see that garbage Garbage hasn't been collected for days, Chris. So these are the things the people are marking this government down.
Yeah.
The other issue people raise.
But before you go, Bill, in terms of the garbage collection, because I was speaking earlier with Deputy Mayor of New Amsterdam,
Okay.
and the point that he would have made is a similar issue that is happening in New Amsterdam, and this is because, according to him, the schedule of removal of garbage in New Amsterdam is done by the town clerk.
Yeah.
And similarly, here in Georgetown, it is the town clerk. And similarly, there in Linden, it is the town clerk. The town clerks are appointed by the PPP.
Yes.
And in many instances, including in the RDCs, in which you have the REOs, the council that are controlled by the APNU, when they make a decision, it is for the town clerk to execute. But what has been happening is that leading into these elections, the town clerk suddenly gone political, as directed by Nigel Darmalal. So if the town clerks have been directed in terms of the scheduled removal of garbage, that they must put a delay. So the garbage builds up in the communities. The residents there will obviously become upset, and they will ask the question, what is the council doing? Being unaware that it is the town clerks that are appointed by Nigel Darmalal, who have received instructions that they must delay the removal of garbage. And then the PPP goes into the area and says, look all of this garbage here. What the city council is doing? You understand me? It is and this is the wicked. I mean, Sharon is saying the PPP is stink and dirty, but they are also wicked and vindictive. So all of what you see that is happening in these towns that are controlled by the APNU and AFC in some cases, is a carefully orchestrated plot by the People's Progressive Party Civic to create a stench in communities, not remove garbage, leave communities dark without light. And these are only communities that are quote unquote APNU AFC support areas. Because if even in these elections, you go to areas and municipalities that are controlled by the PPP, street lights are up, garbage are removed, drainage, they don't play them thing in that area. They don't play those things in the area. But they do it in constituencies that are not controlled by them. And that is the part I'm telling you, that this is about the worst I've seen the PPP in a campaign. That they smack down, that they disrespect and continue to disrespect the intelligence of the Guyanese people. And as you rightfully said, on the ground, the people are not convinced. They know what is going on. And that is why we say to you that tomorrow when you go out to vote, is essentially a vote to put a stop to the PPP's disrespect of your intelligence. That is what they're doing. But continue.
Yes, and you know, Chris, earlier I made reference to the two local government elections held by the coalition government in March of 2016 and November of 2018. In addition to that, Chris, we didn't just give Guyanese the local government elections, but we also ensure that we had the local government commission, because the constitution is clear that it is the responsibility of the local government commission to have certain staff hired. I think from the town clerk right down to probably other middle management or senior management positions, right? It was the coalition that made it possible. And now what we are seeing, Chris, is that the installed minister of local government, other person than Mr. Nigel Darmalal, it seems as though he is usurping the functions of the local government commission. Or on the other hand, he is actually directing the commission how things ought to be done. Who you want as town clerk, who you want to act as town clerk, who you want as deputy town clerk, who you want as this and who you want as that. And that ought not to be.
That's right.
It ought not to be, Christopher. So I want to join with you to say to our viewers and listeners this particular local government elections 2023. And you know what somebody said to me before I make my point? Somebody said earlier to me, you know, Miss Ferguson, if the PPPC happens to control the municipalities of Georgetown, Linden, Bartica, Madia, Mabaruma, New Amsterdam, Linden, let me tell you this, Miss Ferguson, I don't believe they will ever hold another local government elections. The person said that to me today. So I want to say to all Guyanese I'm speaking to through these lens, this particular elections should not be taken lightly. And we must have at the back of our minds this particular question. Why is it that Jagdeo is so keen of getting his hands in the municipalities that are basically controlled by the APNU? But I can simply answer that. Look at what they are doing at the RDC level, Chris. Look at what they're doing. We, after the March 2nd, 2020 regional and general elections, the APNU or the coalition, we have full control of the RDC Region 4. We have control of RDC Region 10. And we have control of RDC Region 7. And we would have seen what they have been doing to those elected bodies. Is that when these people prepare, when the councillors sit amongst themselves, because they would go out, do the assessment to determine what projects are needed for whichever area. And as a council, they will sit together, right, and determine which projects will be given priority for a given fiscal year. And in many cases, Chris, you know that by the time the budget is submitted to the minister who has responsibility for the regional bodies, the budget is actually changed up. And we also recognize that the council, the RDCs, they're not getting the monies to really execute their mandate. So I'm saying to Guyana that if they're to get their hands on the municipalities of Georgetown, Linden, Madia, Bartica, Mabaruma, and New Amsterdam, it is the same way they will treat those municipalities as they have been doing with the RDCs, because the DNA of the People's Progressive Party Civic is that they want to control and dominate at all levels. And, you know, this is simple. In order for them not to have domination and control of all municipalities, we just got to go there, Chris, tomorrow, and make we statement. This local government elections got to be treated. It has to be treated as though it is a national and general elections, because this is how the PPP make it out to be. Right. Look what is happening. Flags all across this place, the German-looking colors. Then you have the billboards. Then you have the big, huge posters. The money is utilized, Chris, to erect billboards across this Georgetown or across the respective municipality areas. Sorry, those monies could have been used to pay public servants a better wage and salary. Those monies could have been used because they promised the public servants that they will pay them 50%, Chris, 50% increase. They promised the old age pensioners that they're going to give them 50,000 old age pension, Chris. You understand me? So these are the things, you know, they're saying that they want to do infrastructure, they want to do this, but we know we must never take the PPPC by their words. because promises they don't necessarily fulfill. Because Chris, I always like to remind people so that they can do a proper analysis of what is really happening in this country. You would recall, Chris, in 2011, after the November 20th, 2011 elections, Ramatar, or even leading up to those elections, Donald Ramatar said once he gets the presidency, he will ensure that local government elections are held. And I can tell you, every single Tuesday, Mr. Granger led a protest outside of office of the president calling for the local government elections date to be set. They didn't give it to us in 2012. We didn't get it in 2013. We didn't get it in 2014. What they give to us was a prorogued parliament. Hence, we went to a regional and general elections in May of 2015. And after those elections, because the APNU promised that once you give us the opportunity to manage this country, we will ensure that local government elections are held. And we kept our words. Despite the first elections would have seen us, not doing too well in certain local authority areas, and also for 2018, we still went ahead and held those elections as were constitutionally due. So, as I said before, this particular elections is an elections to determine whether we will live a peaceful life, have a good life in Georgetown and the other municipalities that we control, or we put it in the hands of the People's Progressive Party Civic, and we will have doomsday. And if you're a vendor or you have a relative or family whose main source of income is through vending, and it's saying they ain't going to vote, I am saying to you, speak to them. Because if they fail to show their numbers tomorrow, and the PPPC get their feet into the municipality, they have no one else but themselves to blame.
Exactly. All right, so you said it there. So, folks, this has been the APNU Local Government Elections Watch. And of course, as we mentioned, tomorrow, throughout the entire day, we will bring you live updates in terms of what is happening across the length and breadth of the country in all of the various municipalities and NDC. My colleagues, Annette Ferguson and Randolph Critchlow, will be part of the team. And of course, we have already identified a number of persons across the country who will be bringing us the updates from those specific locations. In terms of guidance as it relates to the various constituencies and who are the candidates contesting those constituencies, all of that information can be found on the APNU Guyana page. You go right there. If you look for Georgetown, all of the candidates from the various constituencies are listed there. If you look for the municipality of Linden, the candidates are listed there, and so on for all of the other constituencies in the areas as well. And I think closing.
Well, Christopher,
you pitch to people for tomorrow to come out and vote, or else Kathy Chidina, essentially.
Exactly.
Or Kathy Chidina and Jagdir take your rates and taxes. Easy to do.
Yes, exactly. Chris, look, voting is one's right. Right? Voting is one's right. And despite because the stats will show that at local government elections, you would get a low turnout. But as I said before, this particular local government should be a referendum against the People's Progressive Party Civic. So if you're living in Better Hope and you're a PPP supporter and you feel like going out, you stay home.
That's right.
You stay home, because I know many of the People's Progressive Party Civic supporters, they're dissatisfied at what is happening in this country, because they themselves are seeing it's the friends, families, the favorites, and there's another F added recently, the foreigners who are actually benefiting from our resources. So I want to say to Guyanese, the polls open at 6 a.m. tomorrow. It's a simple process. You just turn up there, you queue up, go into the area, present your ID card, your name verify on the list, you get your ballot, go to the compartment, make your X. And there's only one way you could put this X, is at the palm. APNU up, and you look for the candidate at the bottom, and you just palm it off there with your nice sexy X, right? If you turn up at the place of poll and you don't have your ID card, but you were registered and you voted at that particular location, you never changed your address or did a transfer, you can also cast your ballot. All that is required of you is to indicate to the polling clerk at the desk who you be, where you live, and they will verify the remaining particulars. When that is done, they will ask you to swear to an oath of identity. When that process is done, then you will be issued with your ballot. You go, again, put your sexy X where it has to be placed. And please remember, your ballot must be stamped. Do not allow the ballot clerk to give you an unstamped ballot. It must be stamped with, I think it's the top and the bottom. Is it a 6-digit? I think 6-digit number. Please ensure it is done before your very eyes. We don't want a situation that we discovered during the national recount. You know, we discovered that people vote, migrants voted, oaths of identities weren't found, and all kinds of things. So we need to ensure that these things doesn't repeat themselves. So come tomorrow, we got to send a resounding no to the People's Progressive Party Civic that you will not get your hands to control Georgetown. Go out in your numbers and vote solidly.
Excellent. Excellent. All right. Thank you very much, Annette Ferguson. And on that note, we want to leave you with one quick number. One was expected that tomorrow being a local government elections, that it would have been a national holiday, which would have afforded all of Guyana the opportunity to go out and vote and so forth. The People's Progressive Party Civic has found it in their interest not to declare tomorrow a national holiday for that purpose. But what we know, as experienced in the past, there are some employers, many employers, many stores, many businesses that refuse their employees the opportunity for them to go out and vote. That information here at Central Command Center, we want to hear from you. If this occur to one of your family friend, or it is happening to you, that your employer is not allowing you the opportunity to go and vote, the number you need to call is 225-7852. That number again, 225-7852. Whether it is small, if they tell you that you could only go and vote after you leave at 4:30 in the afternoon, it is against the law. If you would have indicated to them that you want to go and vote between the morning period before you go into work and they refuse you, it is against the law. And we want to know the names of those employees or employers, and we want to know the names of those companies, businesses. It could be a lumberyard, a mechanic shop, a vulcanizing shop, anywhere. Once you are working and your employer refuse you the time to go and vote, we want to know the name of that employer, we want to know the name of that company, we want to know the name of that store, etc. And the number you have to call is 225-7852 and make that report. Within minutes, Whether you are in Linden, whether you are in New Amsterdam, whether you're in Georgetown, whether you're in Bartica, whether you're in Madia, wherever you're located, you call that single number 225-7852, and we assure you, we assure you that a group of people in vehicles will turn up at that place, whether it's a store, a shop, a vulcanizer shop, a mechanic shop, you name it. If your employer are refusing to give you the time to go and vote, call 225-7852, wherever, whichever part of the country you're located, and a team will come to you. 225-7852. And this is from the command center of the APNU local government elections as well.
Yeah, Chris, if I may, just, say this quickly. Look, we know tomorrow is going to be a very busy day. And it would be good, for those persons who got vehicles, we can do a lot of carpooling. You might be living next to an individual who's incapacitated, probably can't walk, not seeing. We're asking you to assist that voter to the place of poll, because as it is, every vote matters at these elections. So I want to encourage persons, Chris, to do a number of carpooling. I want to encourage persons, if you see your brother falling and needs that extra hand of assistance, please ensure he or she is given it. So again, these elections we can't play with, because we recognize the viciousness of Bharat himself wanting to take control of our municipalities and NDCs, and we cannot allow this to happen. So your vote is quite important for us to win and retain our presence and dominance on these municipalities.
Excellent. All right. Thank you very much, Annette Ferguson. And of course, again, fellow Guyanese, tomorrow go to the poll and vote early. And of course, we did promise you at the commencement of this program that former President David Arthur Granger issued a message this morning encouraging all to go out and vote at these local government elections. And of course, in his call, he placed on record, formally on record, that it was the APNU AFC in government that reintroduced local democracy, that reintroduced local government elections to this country. And as such, the APNU has been tried, tested, and proven as an administration that keeps its promises to give local governance to local people that right and that opportunity. The APNU, like we promised you and delivered to you in 2016 and delivered to you again in 2018, we are calling on you to give us your support once again in these elections in 2023. Here now, and this will take us out of the program, is former President of the Cooperative Republic of Guyana, David Arthur Granger. And of course, the first update as it relates to elections update will come via this same streaming from 9 a.m. tomorrow morning. And of course, live coverage will continue throughout the entire day into the evening. And of course, that is when we will be getting the election results, and we will be bringing you those projections for each municipality, for each constituency, some of the NDCs as well in those areas that the APNU is contesting. And of course, we will bring you other information. For example, we were trying to get in contact with Mr. John Adams from Denamstel. And of course, in Denamstel, the APNU is not contesting that area, but throw support behind the Hague Blankenberg Development Association. So if you reside in Denamstel in Hague Blankenberg, the symbol and the name that you have to look for when you're voting tomorrow is the Hague Blankenberg Development Association. And of course, their symbol is the light bulb. So those there in the Namstel, Hague Blankenberg, you are voting for the Hague Blankenberg Development Association, and their symbol is the light bulb. For those of you in areas like Reg Dorsey, Parfait, Harmony, and so forth, you are looking for the eagle. The eagle is the symbol that you will be looking for, and that is where you're going to be casting your vote. That is if you reside in Rec Dorsey, Parfait Harmony, Potentia, and so forth. That is the symbol that you will be looking for to vote, which is the eagle. And you there in the Namsel, you are looking for the light bulb because you will be voting for the Hague Blankenberg Development Association. On behalf of my colleague Annette Ferguson and those of my colleagues that join me via telephone, Don Hastings Williams, Ronald Cox, and Mr. Wainwright McIntosh, the Deputy Mayor of the Municipality of New Amsterdam. We bid you a pleasant rest of the evening, and we're going to leave you with former President David Arthur Granger and his local government elections message to the nation.
My name is David Granger, and I welcome you to this brief statement about life in the country, really about local government elections. I'm proud to have been president of this country in 2015, when we, in a partnership for national unity, reintroduced local government elections, which the PPP had stalled for nearly 20 years. Let me say this. Local representation is based on trust. Trust between citizens and the councillors who they elect to represent them. Trust between the communities and the municipalities and the neighborhood democratic councils. Citizens should not trust the party when the evidence shows that the party's words do not match their works. I ask you, should you trust the PPP civic that refused to enact or approve changes to legislation which was passed by the National Assembly in 2014? Should you support a party that damaged urban and rural economic development for nearly 20 years by refusing to hold local government elections and starving some councils of state funds? Tell me, should you trust the PPC that uprooted neighborhood democratic councils, 36 neighborhood democratic councils, and installed unelected, unpopular, unlawful, unwanted interim management committees in the face of picketing and protests by those citizens? Should you trust the People's Progressive Party Civic that refused to attend the National Regional Development Consultative Committee established by the APNU administration, established to ensure that the RDCs, the Regional Democratic Councils, and the Neighborhood Democratic Councils, and the municipalities should meet together to plan for regional development and local government? People of Guyana, should you trust the People's Progressive Party Civic that spurned the Constitution, which requires that, and let me quote the Constitution, and I quote, in the management and development of the region, every council must devise its general development plans and programs and proceed to ignore or overrule non-PPPC regional chairmen and mayors? Should you trust the PPC that still implements its winner-takes-all plan to capture and control every local authority and to teach the nation a lesson about its idea of one Guyana? What one Guyana means is one party control, not the creation of conditions to consult or to collaborate with civil society and the local citizens. My friends, local representation was strengthened by APNU, and our works matched our words. You can trust the APNU. It was the APNU that restored local democracy by conducting local government elections only 10 months after it entered office in 2015. You can trust the APNU, which appointed the Local Government Commission to ensure the autonomy of local democratic organs. You can trust the APNU that extended local democracy by establishing 4 capital towns at Bartica, Lethem, Mabaruma, and Madi. These tongues were able to effect the decentralization of development, devolving authority from the center to the periphery and placing power in the hands of citizens. People of Guyana, you can trust APNU that cares for your children by providing bicycles, buses, and boats for them to attend school safely and does not throw stones at school buses. You can trust the APNU that recognizes the Constitution, which prescribes local government as a vital aspect of democracy, a vital aspect that should be organized so as to involve as many citizens as possible in the task of managing and developing the communities in which they live. You can trust the APNU that proclaimed the National Day of Villages, that introduced plans of action for regional development, that introduced village improvement plans, that introduced regional agriculture and commercial expositions, that introduced the rural agriculture infrastructure development plans, rural entrepreneurial agriculture projects, in order to augment production in the villages of this country. My friends, local government elections should prevent one party from being a free hand to capture strongholds and take control of every municipality and every neighborhood. Local government elections should prevent one party domination by empowering popularly elected councils to ensure that everyone could enjoy a good life. Local government elections should prevent the domination of villages and communities by allowing victory for a single party to defeat other parties. Local government elections should ensure the decentralization of responsibility to the municipalities and neighborhood councils through their elected chairmen and mayors. Local government election recognizes that Guyana cannot be governed effectively, efficiently, or equitably by one party alone, or by central government, which itself is dominated by one party. Local government elections are upon us. They should mobilize and organize townsfolk, and you, on the 12th of June, must go out to ensure that you determine your destiny by voting for a partnership for national unity. The elections which will be held on Monday, the 12th of June, should continue the process of empowering the people to ensure that everyone will enjoy a good life. Don't drink the Kool-Aid. Trust who you know. Vote for a partnership for national unity. Thank you, and God bless you. As you go tomorrow, vote for partnership.